Hello everyone, this is Natasha from Treasure Books. So today I wanted to share with you this latest project that I did. These are little book plates to go on to journals and junk journals and notebooks and so forth. And I'm going to show you exactly how I made them. I'll go through the process with you. So usually when I make journals, I always like to have a little book plate on the front cover. So here I've got this one. I've got a tutorial on how I made this one as well. And then on this journal I'll have something like this. So I'm just really playing around with different ways, different things to put on journals as book plates. Like this one I've got this, and these are just different sort of types of things that I've done in the past. This is just cardstock and it says journal. So yeah, these ones here are my latest thing. So for example, this journal I made a while ago, and something like this would just complete the journal. I think it needed something there, and that's perfect. So I decided to leave these ones blank because I thought maybe the person that's using the journal, that one's upside down, yeah, they can write their own thing. They can write journal or art journal or diary or planner, or you get the gist, whatever they want. So there's all these different sizes and different sort of type of flowers and embellishments and things like that. So yeah, I'm going to show you now how I made them. And there's this one. It's got a little bit of gold. Most of them have just a little bit of sewing around, and then clusters and what's it called, collaging of different laces and things like that. So let's get to it. These are the ones that I made, and I'll probably put them in my Etsy shop. So okay, this is how I did it. First of all, you need some sort of a cardstock. I was using this cereal box, and then I just cut it down into strips. So they're all different, as you can see. Like some of them are narrow and wide, some of them are long, and etc. So I just kind of, didn't measure anything or anything like that. So I cut them all up, and I've got one here. So I'll just show you exactly how I did it. Next thing that you need is some sort of a material. So this is calico. Then I had something like this. Anything really that you have in your stash. And it doesn't have to be one color. It can be a print as well. Like for example, you can see these ones. I've used a print fabric, if that's how you call it. Okay, so let's say today I'm going to use calico. So what I do next is cut it down to size. So I just wanted to have material go all around, but this is probably too much. So let's say approximately this much. Okay, doesn't have to be perfect. So now, next thing you want to make sure is, so see how this is see-through? I'm just going to flip it around, and this will be my front, so that you don't see that writing. So as you will see with these ones, oh, that one's just cardstock. So this one you can see at the back, the cereal box. And I figure it doesn't matter, that the back doesn't matter, because it will be stuck down onto the journal. Okay, so that will be my front. So the way that I do it, place it down, and then I get my glue. I'm using this clear drying glue. I pretty much use this for anything because it doesn't warp the paper and dries quickly. So it's just that stringy clear glue, and I pop a little bit of glue into the corners, and then I just do this. This is how I do it, because this way I find that I have good, really nice corners, as opposed to some of them when I first started, I would cut the corners, but then what happens is you have this little bit of space, and I just didn't feel like fiddling around and trying. I mean, it still looks fine, but I didn't feel like sort of, I thought this was a better way. So once that's down, I make sure that it's down. And then the only thing with this glue is that this happens sometimes, not all the time. It starts leaking out or flowing out. And then I just put some glue around all 4 sides, and I fold the fabric down onto the glue. If you have brand new nail polish, like I did last week, this stage might wreck your nail polish. But we don't really care about that, do we? Okay. So when I'm doing this, I'm making sure that oh sorry, I wasn't in frame. I'm making sure that I'm pulling it down so that it's tight. So see how here in this fabric there's a little bit of fold? You can see it here. It's it hasn't been ironed, and I can't be bothered. I mean, I don't really want to go and iron each little piece. So when I'm gluing it down, I'll just make sure that I pull it tight. Another option, see how now it's fine. And I mean, there's still a little bit of a crease. You can see it more on camera than in person, but that's going to be covered anyway. So I guess also you could just sew that down, sew it around, but I used glue. That's how I did it. Okay, so once that is done, next thing I do, you can see here, I distress the edge. So I've got my ink pad, and I only just do a little bit around the edge just to make it more defined, I guess. So when it's on the journal, it stands out a bit more. It adds a little bit of extra something to it, especially if you're going for that vintage look, for that vintagey feel. Then this is a must. A little bit of distressing. Okay, so I'll put that away. Once that's done, I start to play around with my little bits and pieces. So I've just pulled out of my stash just a few little laces and things like that. I didn't want to overwhelm myself, so I gave myself only a couple of little things and told myself to work within this. I didn't want to go and look for the perfect trim, you know, the perfect lace. So let's go with, and then what I do is I start, I'm not in frame, okay, and then I just start. So I'm going to pop this one down and cut it to size. I can even use my pinking shears, just like that. And then next, this is, I guess, the most difficult part for me. So do I like this one? What do you think? Will this one look good? I'll pop it down like that. Now look at it. So oh, it's getting stuck on my fingers because of that glue. Okay, so then I think there's some sort of a rule, and something like odd number of things. So I've got 1, 2, 3. So you don't want to have 4. I don't know. That's just I've heard that somewhere. You want to have like 3 or 5 elements, for example. So let's say this is 4 different laces. I've just laid them down like this. This looks all right, because most of it will be covered anyway. So you just want a little bit of something peeking out. So on here you can see I've got this lace, then I've got this different type of lace, then I've got this one here peeking out, and then I've got this. So there's a few different things. Okay, next step, as you can see here, I get some lined paper and I just rip it. So I want that ripped edge, rip it like this, and then I check the size. This one is a little bit too big, so how does this look? Let's have a look. Pop it down. So if I want to have a flower, for example, I might want to have this one here. So, and I'm just thinking, so I've got a flower here, and then I've got this little lace here that's got these little colors. So I'm thinking, how am I gonna, you know, unify everything? And I think it'll be nice and unified once we do the next step, which is this. So, but before we do that, I've decided what I'm going to use. I sort of had a look around. I know how it's going to look. So that's what I mean. Like I lay it all down, have a look. Yep, that looks fine. And then I ink the edge of my little thing for that little extra little goodness. And especially extra little vintagey feel, if that's what you're going for. Even if you're not, it still looks nice. Okay, and then that will go down here. And what I do next is optional. If you don't use a sewing machine, if you don't have one, or you don't want to use it on cardstock or cereal box, there you could just glue it down. But what I like to do is definitely go through. I love my sewing machine, and I think this just adds so much interest, and actually glues, not glues, but sews it all down so it's not going anywhere. Because as you can see, these laces and trims and things, they're just sitting there, they're not glued down. So once I sew around, they'll all be sewn onto the cardstock and they're not going to move. So I'm going to do that now, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've just sewn all of that around, and as you can see, when I'm sewing, I'm not going straight across because the paper has been ripped and the paper's not straight itself, and that adds character too. So with the sewing being a little bit not straight and sort of following the paper. So once I've done that, I just try to get these little bits out. Usually I can get them out easily, and if I can't, usually I just get one out and then I just cut the one on this side and just trim it down here. Okay, so that's it. All of these laces are down, they're not going anywhere. And then the next thing that I do is I've used my die cut. I have a little die that cuts these little book plates, but it's just a rectangular shape, so you could just cut your own and then poke holes. So you don't need to have a specific die, but I did, and that's what I used. So I've decided to use this one. Okay, and of course I also need to ink this one. Okay, and then I'll lay it down, have a look if I'm happy with that. So I'm just going to put this underneath, because next thing that I do, so I want that there, and where's that flower? Here's the flower, and I want the flower here. So make sure that everything's okay. And then, oh yes, that's right, I'll pop a little bit of glue, even though, oh, it's, look at it, it's bubbling. So even though this will be held down by brads, I like to put a little bit of glue just to hold it in extra. Everything that I do, I feel like I have to secure it more so that nothing in my journals are not going to fall apart. I very rarely use a glue stick, for example, because over time glue sticks start to fall apart, you know, not work. I guess after a few years everything just starts to not work. Okay, anyway, I'm rambling. So now what we do is make little holes just so that it's easier for the brads to come through. And you don't even, if you don't have brads, you don't have to use brads. For example, here I just use little pearls with the flat back pearls to cover those little holes, and that looks nice like that. but I really love to use brads because I feel like it's an extra piece of extra little tools that are holding everything together. So now we're uniting everything even more, if that makes sense. That book plate is not gonna go anywhere. Book plate on a book plate. Okay, so that's that. Okay, and next thing that I do is glue this button down, and not button, flower, and I use my hot glue, but I forgot to warm it up and plug it in, and so I can't actually demonstrate, but I think let's just pretend. Okay, I put my hot glue here, just a little bit, you don't want it seeping out everywhere, just a little bit of hot glue, and I pop it down and I hold it down until it dries. And when it's dry, ta-da, there's the book plate. And that's it. Really quite simple, and you know, looking really nice. So I hope you liked it, and if you did, let me know. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my videos, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.